Coming at you from the Hey Yo Studios. It's the Fade Route with D and Z. Here are your hosts, D and Z.
Coming at you live from the Ayo Studio.
Hey yo.
It's the Fade Route with D and Z. I am D, and we've got a great show for you tonight. Yankees lose 8 straight. Spain wins its first Women's World Cup. And someone is falling in love in Green Bay. But we'll begin today's show with Chapter 5 of the Johnathan Taylor Colts love story.
Oh my God.
Colts have granted Taylor permission to seek out a trade, and he's working the phones. So Z, I ask you, who should JT call, and what is his value at this point in his career?
Well, you have a guy. Now here's a guy who only played 11 games last year, ran for 861 yards, 4 touchdowns on the year. But
four?
A whole four. Coming off of that, of back-to-back seasons of double-digit touchdowns, right? Now, you have back-to-back seasons of over 1,000 yards. Now, you can chalk this up to the fact that he missed significant time, but at the same time, things are not going well in Indianapolis, and it looks like they're trying to move on mutually. Now, who does this benefit? Now, running back is a devalued position, as we know. Right? We've been talking about it all summer. Between Saquon holding out for an extra $2 million to chapters 1 through 4 of Johnathan Taylor, it's going to be hard, right? They're marketing Taylor as a first round, second best rusher in the league type of person, and they want a first round return. They want a first round pick return. With the devaluing of the running back position, that's not happening. That's just not happening with the collusion around the league. The best you can do if you're valuing a second round pick, like, who's going to do that? Who is going to be able to do that? If you're not looking for something in the immediate future, the Rams immediately come to mind. If you're looking at the 2087 first round pick, sure, fuck them picks. Like, he's not going to be around. The owner's probably not going to be around. McVay's not going to be around. Nobody's going to be around to see that pick come to life.
Right.
So go ahead, via Conios. The other one, the Eagles are always looking to add, right? The Eagles have an embarrassment of riches at every position. So why not running back too? Even though they have DeAndre Swift, and Gainwell is good, Boston Scott is good. Right? Why not add a guy?
They just got Swift, right?
Right. Well, why not add yet another guy? Like, the first team that he was linked to is the Chiefs. They got Pacheco. They have Edwards-Helaire. Like, why do they need one more running back? Like, why is this happening? So, like, if you're going to add as an impulse buy, you're going to add as a luxury. And I think that those are the teams that are probably willing to spend the draft capital to get Johnathan Taylor. Now, another interesting parallel is that former Bear Tariq Cohen, according to Adam Schefter, he has resumed football-related activities, and he's trying to make a comeback. Why would I trade a second-round pick when I can roll the dice on Tariq Cohen, who was very good when he was in Chicago? The injury history is there, but Johnathan Taylor was injured last year, and he's currently injured.
So if you're JT, who are you calling?
If I'm JT, I'm calling the Eagles. I'm calling the Eagles. I'm calling the Chiefs.
The Eagles.
I'm calling the Eagles. I'm calling the Chiefs. I'm calling the two teams that I think I have the best chance to get to a Super Bowl with.
All right,
it might not even be about playing time at this point.
Oh, okay. Well, I would think for him, it's about playing, but also getting a new contract, right? Like you're not going to go there and play on a 1-year deal and not get a new contract, right? You want to make sure that this is going to be worth your while, right?
You would think so, but
I'm saying if you were him,
if I'm him, I know I'm fucked. I know I'm fucked because of the position I play. I know I'm screwed. Like Saquon's gonna get low ball. I'm gonna get low ball. Saquon low balled himself. Like I'm gonna get low balled. Like it's the nature of the position at this point. So
yeah, I mean notable players who were given permission to seek out a trade and failed: Kareem Hunt, Austin Eckler, Darius Slay, Andre Johnson, Jimmy G. So they're not looking promising for Mr. Taylor there. We've seen his numbers dip. Last year or 2 years ago, it was 5.5 yards per carry to 4.5 yards per carry. 106 yards per game to 78 yards per game. 18 touchdowns to 4 touchdowns. Like, you're not making a good case for yourself. As far as teams that should get on the phone, I don't know, man. It's tough because we're at the end of training camp. Like, how am I going to bring you in now to work out with the team, to learn to play? I know you're a running back, but still, I mean, part of training camp is also forming bonds with your players and building a team concept. And now you're just going to come in here and run someone's shit who's been in here since OTAs? It's tough. But having said that, I do think it's the first team I thought that should give him a call or give the Colts a call is the Dolphins, just because they don't. That's the one thing I think they're missing right now is a real running back, a real guy that can give you 4 yards per carry. And then the second team I thought of, I know they just got rid of a guy. But the Vikings, because you have such a loaded roster and so much talent, and you're gonna try to go into the season with Matt Madison. I don't know if that's gonna. I don't know. He's no Dalvin Cook, But then again, they let go Dalvin Cook because they didn't want to pay him. So I can't see them bringing in this guy and paying him. Now on the flip side, if I'm Johnathan. Yeah, I'm going to call the Dolphins. Probably going to call the Cardinals. Because if I go to the Cardinals, I'm going to play. I'm going to get to showcase. I'm going to get to fucking play. And that's what that's going to be about.
Yeah, you're going to be playing with Colt McCoy as your quarterback.
Yeah, but I'm
ganging up on you, man.
But I got to play. I can't pull a Le'Veon Bell here. Like, I need to play. If I go there, I'm going to get to play. I'm calling the Rams, like you said. They're stupid. They're stupid. I'm calling the stupid team. Like, hey, you could sign me. I'll come in I'll be here for the next 5 years. And I'm calling the Bucks. Bucks have talent. They let go of Fournette. This is another team that want to pay a running back. You could use a veteran running back to pick up the blocks for Baker Mayfield and Trask if Trask winds up playing. I know the scheme. I could run the ball. It's a shit division in my opinion. Like anybody could really win that division.
We're gonna order it up later.
Anybody could win that division. I could go there and I could rock it out. Like that's. I think he's past the point of being able to go back to the Colts though.
Yeah, no, they reached
that ship has sailed.
Return. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, that's definitely beyond the point of no return. But
and that's a shame too. It really is because it didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be this way.
A couple of interesting teams. Well, here are some outside the box. They're not. I mean, one is a purple contender for the division. The other one is just, trying to fight their way out of last place. 2 options. See which one you prefer. The New Orleans Saints. Specifically because Alvin Kamara is suspended. And then the Denver Broncos. because you have Javonte Williams, who is coming back from an injury himself, and then you have P. Ryan, Beatty, and Tony Jones Jr.
Yeah.
It's not much there. So do either one of those situations entice you if you're Johnathan Taylor?
Yeah. I'd be interested in the Broncos, as weird as that sounds, because Sean Payton, you know, that would probably stick out to me from him. And I think it's possible that both teams could look to that as an option. But then you're shitting on the guy that's coming back. Like, you know, Williams should be ready to rock in a couple weeks. So now he's got to take a back seat. I think, you know, P. Ryan's going to take the bulk of the carries in the beginning, but I guess that's football, right?
It's next man up. It's always next man up.
Yeah.
Avoid messy accidents. Get better stopping power with your brake pads. Callahan brake pads. You never know when you'll be driving in the road and there will be a truck tire that you need to avoid and save your family. Callahan Auto. We really care about what's under your hood.
Speaking of next man up, they say, wise man once said, don't fall in love during an internship, and you really shouldn't fall in love during preseason. The Diet Coke of football. But the Packers seem to be falling in love here, you know, with Jordan Love. This game, he was 5 of 8 for 84 yards and a tutty. And he has some gorgeous throws. Just gorgeous. Should the Packers be this excited about Love, and should they be excited about the regular season?
I think the Packers should be excited. I think the fans should be excited. See, you don't like the preseason. I love preseason. I love it. I live for it. I love all the storylines. I love to see where people are at. Like, you know, I was able to see Rodgers was going to be a stud during preseason when he was succeeding Favre. Like, you get to see these things. This is what I saw. Okay, this is what I saw. I saw a guy that was not flustered. I saw a guy that didn't turn over the football. I saw a guy that was in complete control of the offense. I saw a guy that was throwing darts. He's putting it where you wanted to put it. He was throwing with some gas behind it. I'm starting to feel like the Packers front office might know what they're doing here. They might have gotten this right. I mean, they had to do it, and that's what I don't understand. Like, everybody's ripping the GM, and how could you trade away Rodgers? But what did you want him to do? Eventually, you have to move on. We have to see what Jordan Love is. And, you know, he sat for 2 years, 3 years? It is time. We're going to find out early. I think they play Chicago week 1.
Yes, indeed.
We're going to find out. But he's playing with younger guys. And while Rodgers was frustrated with these younger guys, he's having fun with these younger guys. And it's so odd to me that Rodgers was so frustrated with the Packers' younger guys, but he seems to be getting along greatly with the Jets' younger guys. Don't understand that at all.
That is interesting. That's an interesting little observation there.
But if he comes in here, Z, if he comes in here and lights it up, like let's say they go 3-2, right? The first 5 games. You're not going to tell me you're a Packers fan. You're not elated. You're not the GM, and you're like, all right, this fucking worked. Like, you're not. If they start out 3-2, which they could do, you're not going to be like, holy shit, they made the right move here.
If they're anywhere near contention, anywhere close to 500, I think they are going to puff their chests out, and they're going to think that they got a good handle on things. But the problem I have with the preseason is that it's a lot of pool gold. You're playing against vanilla defenses who are showing you nothing because they don't have to show you anything. It's a warm-up. It's a practice. It's Diet Coke. It doesn't matter. You're just trying to get game reps in.
Well, Coke Zero doesn't matter.
Yeah, Coke Zero.
Diet Coke, I think, matters.
Diet Coke. allegedly Diet Coke is the most popular drink in America, so it's disgusting.
Allegedly. That's disgusting.
That's disgusting. It can strip the rust off a penny. That's all you need to know. But you're getting vanilla defenses. You're not running your entire complement of offense. Half the guys don't even play. Half the starters don't even play. If they do, they play a couple series. The quarterbacks are not doing much. So what are you left with? A bunch of special teams guys and guys who are going to try and stand out as much as possible. And taking a quarterback to the house, or God forbid, taking out your starting quarterback if you're on defense. Like, that's something that's, bound to happen. But the regular guys aren't there. When the lights are on bright, that's when we're going to see what's up. Jordan Love, week 1, at Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears. Yeah, it's not Brian Urlacher, it's not Lance Briggs, but you're going to be seeing what the Bears have to offer. And regardless of what you may think about Justin Fields, their defense is still pretty damn good. So Jordan Love is going to be in for a rude awakening. Now, you need to temper your enthusiasm, because you knew what you had in Aaron Rodgers. You don't know what you have in Jordan Love. And, you're also uncertain because you're one injury away, right? This is the 3rd preseason game coming up. You're one injury away from Jordan Love not starting. But you're looking at a guy, right? Again, there's a guy, 4 games. We're talking about 4 goddamn games. He's played 4 games in his career. Come on. Like, he's 4 games last season, 10 for his career. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 606 yards. 60% completion. Okay, that's okay. That's decent. But
he's not out there. He's not out there Trey Lance in it.
No.
He's not out there Zach Wilson in it. Like, he looked like a professional quarterback. Like, he looked like he knew what the fuck he was doing.
But there's a reason why they say don't fall in love. Because once the lights are on bright and guys once they start trying, that's when shit's gonna hit the fan. The fortunate thing for Love, is that he's got AJ Dillon, right? And he's got Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that'll take the pressure off.
Christian Watson's a good receiver. I think he's a good second-year guy. He's gonna be all right, man.
Dobbs will be okay. Like, they have some guys.
They got some players.
Yeah, they got some players, but they're all gonna go through their growing pains.
They opened up pretty rough. They opened up against the Bears. Then they got the Falcons, tough game. Saints, tough game. Lions, tough game.
If they get to their bye, their bye is week 6. What is an acceptable record if you're a Packers fan? What's an acceptable
3-2.
3-2.
If I'm a fan, you're 3-2, I'm feeling good. You're 1-4, I'm like, fuck. Like, even 2-3, I'm like, jeez. Unless the 2 wins are against division opponents. But I mean, look, before you go on your bye, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, before you go on your bye, you're playing the Raiders.
Who probably will be tougher than we think they are, right? The Patriots, the Las Vegas Patriots, I think they'll be ready to go. So, I don't know. I think 2-3, I think that's fine. Like, you're still kind of dreaming. But if you're 1-4 or, God forbid, 0-5.
0-5 is, I think LaFleur is gone, right?
Yeah, you have to be. Because you're looking at the Bears, their expectations are high. The Falcons, their expectations are high. The Saints, their expectations are high because that division is terrible. The Lions, they're expected to be the division champs. And then you have the Raiders. They could be a wild card team in the playoffs. You're right, though.
A lot of people are saying that the Lions are going to be the division champs, but I think the division's tough, man. Like, Chicago's good. The Vikings, I mean, they lost their running back, but for the most part, their offense is coming back. We'll see what happens. But sticking to preseason, The Washington Commanders ended the 24-game preseason winning streak of the Baltimore Ravens yesterday by winning 28-29. Yeah, someone actually keeps track of records during the preseason. This is the longest preseason winning streak in the history of the National Football League, and it's been snapped. Big deal, little deal, no deal.
I'm sorry. Was there a championship? Did they put up a trophy for this? Like, or is this the Undertaker at WrestleMania? Like, what's going on?
Undertaker.
And that got conquered by one Brock Lesnar. So yes. So well, you know, we can talk about that another day and whether or not that should have been done. But honestly, who cares? Again, you weren't chasing the Dolphins. The undefeated Dolphins. You weren't even chasing the undefeated Patriots. You had a 24-game winning streak in games that don't matter. Congratulations. I don't know how differently to say this. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm glad that they played well. I'm glad that Sam Howell is establishing himself. I'm glad
another guy that looked very good.
Yeah, like Jacoby Brissett, like he's probably going to be the backup. Although you do have the immortal Jake Fromm there.
Antonio Gibson looked good too. Not to just switch things over to the Redskins. Damn.
Yeah, I mean you got some options. You know,
Sam Howell, 19 for 25, 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. Thank you very much. I'll take that.
I'll take that. No,
Jahan Johnson, 5 receptions, 76 yards. Oh yeah, I'll take that.
But now look at the flip side. And who was starting for the Baltimore Ravens again?
Josh Johnson, baby.
Who couldn't finish the NFC title game last year. So
he's in this game.
He threw 10 or 12, 145, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Yeah, but I'm sorry. No. Lamar Jackson's not out there. Who gives a shit? Like, we've established already that without Lamar Jackson, this team is dead in the water. Like, if they put this team out there in a regular season game, it's going to be 29-28. They're going to lose, and they're going to lose bad. So, you know, Anthony Brown was your backup. He also was the leading rusher. Right? You know, your boy Melvin Gordon only had 8 carries for 34 yards. Like, you're a man, pots and pans. Right? Zay Flowers, 2 for 37 and a touchdown. You know, the best and the brightest weren't there for the Ravens. So, you know, they don't hand out trophies in preseason. So don't go back like you won the friggin' Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Like, this bothers me. We, you know, my fiance and I, we went to see the Premier League over the summer. They came to the States. And Chelsea won the Premier League summer tournament. Okay, that's fantastic. You know, they don't sniff the Premier League. Like, the regular season's now. They ain't sniffing it. They're not sniffing it. They're sniffing last. Ugats is what they're sniffing. They're sniffing Ugats. So when the lights are on, when they start keeping score for real, let me know. I'm not about this. I know you like this. I know this is your thing. This is absolutely no deal for me.
Right? I love it.
I can't get up for it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I love it. I can't get up for much more these days, but I can get up for this. I think it's a big deal, actually. Like, it makes me a little as a Ravens fan, it makes me a little nervous about the Ravens because, you know, to win 24 straight preseason games, you were trying. You know, that didn't happen by accident. There's no way that you were going to win that many games over that many years, and it was just because of fluke or lucky. You know what I mean? Yeah. They've been really trying. This record meant something to the Ravens, and I think it meant a lot to the Ravens fans. I mean, I think if you couldn't get a ticket to a regular season game, you get tickets to the preseason game because maybe everybody sells those. You get to go to the game and you get to go to see your team and they win. I mean, that's a big deal for some people. Like I said earlier, Zay Flowers played well, but on the Commanders side, man, Howell looks good. The only thing I would say is, looking through these stats right now, it's a little deceiving because, yes, the Commanders won. They won by 1 point.
Yes.
They ran 81 plays. The Ravens only ran 50. Their time, they had the ball 11 more minutes, and they only got 1 more point than them at the end of regulation. So it just goes to show you, they won, but did they really win? But yeah, I think it's a big deal. Anytime you're able to string this many wins together in a row, it's something. It's special. It means something to the players, especially guys who may not ever play a professional game, like who may never play football again. I think it means a lot.
From that standpoint, yes, but if you're looking at this from a competitive standpoint, if you're looking at this from a championship level standpoint, because the Ravens, they feel like they have a championship caliber team, right? You bring in Odell Beckham, you have your
we bring in Odell Beckham. I like how you started with that, dude.
Well, for the first time in Lamar Jackson's life, he has a wide receiver. He's got 2 of them because Zay Flowers is going to be really good. Now, it's about time that they did right by him. They could have had Julio Jones. Could it have been different if Julio Jones went there instead of Tennessee? Don't know. We don't have the luxury of a time machine.
Ooh, you mean Hop? Oh, you're talking about like last year.
I'm talking about history of high-level wide receivers that the Ravens have passed on.
Yeah.
Right? They could have traded for Michael Thomas. They haven't. They could have got DeAndre Hopkins. They didn't. They finally landed an Odell Beckham who has a rebuilt leg. They drafted Duvernay. He's okay. Right? They drafted Bateman. He's okay. They finally have offensive weapons beyond Mark Andrews for Lamar Jackson to use. What did I learn from this? Nothing. I learned nothing. I learned that Zay Flowers can catch 2 passes from Josh Johnson. That's great. If Josh Johnson is playing, or if Anthony Brown is playing, something has gone horribly wrong. Right?
No, you're right.
That's a problem. I mean, from the competitive standpoint, that's where things are intriguing. That's where you kind of have me. Okay, how are you filling out the rest of your roster? But for the guy who's just kind of living out his lifelong dream of playing meaningless games in the NFL before going back to being an insurance salesman or going to the USFL or going to the XFL, that's what Hard Knocks is for. If I want that drama, I'll watch Hard Knocks, and I haven't watched 1 episode of Hard Knocks. I go to football to see football. I watch football to watch football, right? And that's what I'm interested in. I'm about the steak. I don't care about the sizzle. That's just me as a person. I care about, are we playing well? Are we winning? And as a Raven fan, I know you think the same way, and I know you have high expectations for your team. So, until your stars are out there, until Lamar Jackson's out there, this is fine. But to me, I'm looking at the stat line. I'm like, okay, cool. Josh Johnson just won the backup job. That's what I'm looking at this. That's what I see. That's just me. There's no championship. There's nothing there. Step outside of your safe area and make a statement without saying much with FCK Clout Lifestyle Apparel. Embrace the colorful chaos and stay emotionally regulated in their hoodies, snapbacks, graphic tees, accessories, and more. Season 3 merch is up now. Get it while you can. Go to fckclout.com and get all of your needs from men and women. That's fckclout.com. Unlike the Women's World Cup, where there's actual stakes, right? Mm-hmm. The best team in the world was decided. The best team in women's soccer was decided on Sunday, and it is España, edging England 1-0 to take home the Women's World Cup. So what is your reaction to this? Happy for Spain, sad for England? Are you looking forward to the next World Cup already? Buying season tickets to the NWSL? What say you? Where are you in the spectrum of emotions?
Yeah, I actually watched the game. I watched the whole game. I actually did feel bad for England because I felt like there was a lot of effort there. Unfortunately, they were on the other side of history. Brilliant goal by Spain that put them ahead for good, despite all the runs England was making, and just and England seemed bigger, they seemed stronger, but that didn't matter in this situation. Unfortunately, the women's victory is kind of being overshadowed by this guy Rubiales, who kissed the star forward on the lips, kind of grabbed her face and kissed her on the lips after the victory. And she was not happy about it at all, and she made sure she told everybody she wasn't happy about it.
Committed sexual assault on national television.
Yeah, it just stinks that this is what we got to talk about. Like, we should be talking about how brilliant they were during this whole tournament, how they executed stupendously against England, but instead, you're right, we're talking about a sexual assault that happened on national television, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. They're calling for this guy to resign. He's not resigning, and he's trying to say it was all built in emotion. But dude, man, you kissed a guy on the lips, it would have went over that smoothly, dude.
No, like, none of this. It's completely unseemly. He should go. Like,
yeah,
that's, you forcibly kissed a woman against her will on national television.
Yeah,
in front of the world.
Yeah,
global television.
Made her uncomfortable, and she even said it. Like, she didn't like it. She didn't. I don't care how great this moment was. You can't do that, dude. You can't do it. You can't have it.
No, you can't have it at all. Absolutely not. But let's stick to the facts of the matter in terms of the play. Right? England was playing very well. Like, both teams knocking on the door. Both teams were very crisp, and a little bit. England seemed to be a little bit faster with their passing. Spain was more precise with their passing. With 57% of possession. A few runs were mistimed. England was called for 4 offsides. So Mary Earps, outside of that one shot that Olga Carmona made, and before we keep going on this, our condolences to Olga Carmona losing her father and
Crazy.
finding out after the game, after the match. So our condolences go out to you. But she just ripped one past Mary Earps. Like, that could happen to anybody. Like, we see it all the time. But Mary Earps had an amazing game. Right? She more than held her own, and got beat by a great shot. You got beat by, something that probably could have stopped, but more than likely, no.
No, it's tough. It's a tough spread.
That's a tough one. But Spain dominated in corner kicks.
Yeah.
So
that was the thing, is like, and you could tell England was definitely the aggressor. They were aggressive. They were really aggressive with Spain, but
they almost had double the foul.
It was finesse won in the end,
At the end, finesse did win, but you have to wonder, like, tactically, you don't start Lauren James, who is your best offensive player. I mean, is there a question of subbing her on too late? Was it too little too late? Because England was trying to press at the end. Spain was in a defensive shell, and it was completely impenetrable. It was a masterful performance of getting out ahead and closing out a lead. But it was overshadowed by what happened at the end with Rubiales.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I'm very happy for Spain, right? Because this is the first time since the inaugural Women's World Cup that you were guaranteed a new champion. That's something, right? That's something to be said. Spain is a global football power. It's a global soccer power. So to have that validates women's soccer in Spain and validates women's World Cup soccer globally beyond, your Americas and your Germanys and your England. You have a seat at the table. You definitely have a seat at the table where you already had it in men's soccer, and now you have an equal footing because the women have won something. I'm encouraged for England too. They did not play poorly. Like this is the finals that we deserved as viewers.
Absolutely.
And for me, like I'm as a fan, like as an outsider, like I follow men's soccer. I don't really follow women's soccer. I'll start following women's soccer now. It was a different game. Women's
soccer is it's a great sport. Like it's a great women's sport. Like they're very competitive, and I feel like sometimes their games are better than the men's games. Honestly, I really do. I feel like it's just one of those sports where it's just better. It's just better on the women's side.
There's a lot of emphasis on finesse in the men's soccer. Like it was more direct in the women's soccer, but what they did very crisply. They did quickly. It was, Bret Hart, the excellence of execution. They excellently executed all of what they were trying to do. Like they did it, and they did it well.
Hockey's another good women's sport, and so is lacrosse.
Yeah. Well, it's all based on the excellence of execution. Mm-hmm. So it's important to note that, there's a grace and there's a precision to women's sports that, isn't always there with the men. Like the men's sports, a lot of flashy stuff, a lot of fancy sauce. You don't always, again, the sizzle and the steak. There's not a lot of steak there sometimes. Sometimes there's just a lot of sizzle.
You can't help but smile when you see a balloon. The simplest occasion is a party. Westchester Pop Stars, located in New Rochelle, New York, offers balloon styling and decor for all life's events. Birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, showers, school and corporate events, store openings, or just because. Westchester Pop Stars takes balloons and shapes them into works of art, creating decorative installations for your special occasions. No event is too big or too small, and their custom personalization service is top-notch. Westchester Pop Stars is a private studio, quickly expanding. In-person consultation is by appointment only. Send an email to westchesterpopstars@gmail.com for more information or to schedule an appointment. No need to hire an event stylist. All you need is balloons. Currently servicing Westchester, Putnam, New York City, and Connecticut. To find Westchester Pop Stars, search for them on Instagram, Facebook, or Google.
And speaking of sizzle, more like fizzle. The New York Yankees were swept over the weekend by the third-place Boston Red Sox and are 1-9 in their last 10, currently on an 8-game cooler. The Bronx Duds are now 4 games under 500, heading into the last week in August. Brian Cashman finally called up some young reinforcements. Right? You have.
Oh, by the way, they lost today, so that's 9 straight.
Ooh, golly.
To the Nationals.
To Josiah Gray, New Rochelle High School's own. New Rochelle's own, Josiah Gray. Congratulations, I guess. But Everson Pereira, the Yankees' number 3 prospect, is here. Oswaldo Cabrera is here. Oswaldo Peraza is here. Carlos Rodon is back, and then did that. So, are the kids hopping aboard a sinking ship, or can they empty out enough water to keep these Yankees afloat to the playoffs?
Yeah, this ship is underwater. This ship is in its. It cannot be saved. You're fucking losing 2-1 to the Nationals. No, these guys should have been brought up a month ago when the team was over 500. They're now 5 games under 500. I'm telling you, they are going to finish the season in last place and under 500. And I got to see how not fire Brian Cashman over this shit. Because if he doesn't, New York's going to lose their mind. They're going to lose their fucking mind.
If we're to believe what we're told, his job is safe.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Like that's what are we supposed to say here? But it's atrocious. How many teams are there in Major League Baseball? Remind me.
30. 32.
The Yankees, 30. The Yankees are 29th in batting average. 29th. There are 30 teams in Major League Baseball. The Yankees are 24th in runs scored. There are 30 teams in Major League Baseball. The Yankees are 26th in on-base percentage. There are 30 teams in baseball. The Yankees are 22nd in slugging percentage. These are the Yankees. Lindsay Adler of the Wall Street Journal had an interesting article today, saying that this goes back to the baby boomers. So 2016, 2017, when you had Aaron Judge, Tyler Austin, you had Gary Sanchez, you brought up Glaber.
Gary Sanchez, that guy.
There was hope. There was optimism. Like there were good feelings. They outkicked their coverage because they weren't supposed to be there, and they got to Game 7 against the Houston Astros. And Miguel Andujar was there, Clint Frazier was there, right? All of these guys were there, and you had plenty of optimism. You had plenty of reason to be happy if you were a New York Yankee fan, because you were trending in the right direction. So that was the premise of her argument, and to a degree, she's correct, right? Lindsay Adler's 100% correct. You had a guy who finished second in Rookie of the Year to Ohtani and Andujar. You had a former top prospect in Frazier. You had a guy who won the Rookie of the Year in Aaron Judge. Gary Sanchez is who he is, but there was enough promise there. There was enough power there where you look past the fact that he sucked as a catcher. And San Diego's figuring that one out, and he's DHing. But they got caught. Right? They had this youth movement, and then they traded for Stanton. They signed DJ LeMahieu. They traded for Rizzo and then extended Rizzo. They signed Garrett Cole. They signed Carlos Rodon. There's an identity crisis. Who are the Yankees? Are they a team that drafts and develops, or are they a team that spends? Historically, they've been a team that spends.
Yep.
They historically have been a team that identifies another team's best prospect and steals them for a song. That is what the New York Yankees have done historically. Now they've become, under Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner and Fishman and this analytics core, they've become a team that hugs their prospects, signs quadruple A players, and fills out a roster with mediocre talent. And to a degree, Adler's article also states that part of this identity crisis stems from the fact that Hal's trying to keep the fans happy, which is why he made some of the moves that they made. Like trading for Josh Donaldson. That was, right? That's really making Yankee fans happy. Right? I understand, the whole, remember the old ad campaign of chicks dig the long ball, right? When Mark McGwire was hitting home runs and then Glavine and Maddox were watching. Well, apparently he still thinks that way, right? Because you bring in your Stantons, you bring in Rizzo and extend Rizzo. Rizzo, for all the contact he makes, he's a power hitter. He has 295 career home runs. Like as balanced as he is, Rizzo's a power hitter. So you're not playing to your strengths. You have a short porch in right field. You have one lefty. And now he's out because he got kicked in the head. He got.
And it took them what, like 2 months to diagnose that shit?
Yeah, he got Kinshasa'd in the head. You know, that's what happened. So, yeah, and now your lefties, the lefties that are supposed to scare opponents are Jake Bowers and Billy McKinney. Those are the guys who are supposed to use in the short porch and right. Okay, sure. So this team needs to be overhauled majorly. Oh, another guy who was supposed to be a part of the youth movement that I neglected to mention, Luis Severino.
That guy.
God awful. God awful. God awful. All right, you got something from Oswald Peraza, maybe, right? He's in the top 5 in prospects. You got something maybe with this kid Pereira. He's number 3 overall. Cabrera, you've seen flashes. Volpe, you've seen flashes. There's an opportunity here to get the fans on board, to kind of build up some goodwill, because this season has been all about ill will between Yankee fans and Yankee ownership, right? We've been going to baseball games 40 years of our life. Not since the Stump Merrill days. And Butts is right. Danny was right about that. We haven't seen this kind of negativity in the Bronx since 1990, 1991. Like, we've been ridiculously spoiled. And we don't, we're not as myopic as the newer vintage of Yankee fan who haven't won anything since 2009. Oh my God, the sky is falling. Like, we grew up when the Yankees weren't winning shit. And then they started winning again. Like, there was a transition there. That's history. That's baseball. You're not going to win all the time. But you can build winning teams. How do you build winning teams? Clutch hitting, whether it's power or contact. You got to hit in the clutch. You can't strike out all the time. You got to have quality pitching. You got to have superb defense. And you can't run with your head up your ass. You have to run. You have to have some semblance of what's going on the base path. This group, it's done. It's over. It's fool's gold if they continue on and make some semblance of a run, right? We're going to talk about the Angels later. They're on a similar track. But I think these kids, they're not in over their head, but they're going to get their opportunity, and they're going to, or at least they should, figure out if they can sink or swim. Because right now, the Yankees are floundering. They're absolutely floundering. And this is the time to do this. This is the time to make these decisions. Because you're in a unique position that you're not normally in. Normally, you're just trying to, scratch and claw for the playoffs, or you're setting yourself up. Do the right thing. Cut bait where you can. Call up your prospects and see what you have. If not for Aaron Boone, for the next manager, and if not for Brian Cashman, the next GM. You need to know what you have. And there's only one way to find out what you have. Call up the kids and let them play. Let them play. Let them play. Let them play.
Want to get on the action? We want to hear from you. Hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com. Slide in our DMs on IG @FadeRoutePodcast. Drop us a DM on Twitter @FadeRouteDNZ. Comment on our YouTube channel, The Fade Route with DNZ. Questions, comments, picks, segment suggestions, you name it, we want to hear from you. Get at us, in crowd. Bullshit or no shit? We're going to debate this week's most controversial sports topics right now.
All right, boys and girls, we have a statement, and it's either bullshit or no shit. Here we go. Bullshit or no shit. Number one, Notre Dame and Navy in Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, bullshit. I'm not interested in this. Like, who's interested in this shit? Like, the only people going to this game are people that are coming from here and going to that game. And they've done this a bunch of times, right? Didn't it? They got canceled during COVID, but they've done this a bunch of times, right? They definitely played each other, but they were trying to meet in Ireland for, I think, like the third time. I just get off of it. Like, I don't get this at all.
I'm going bullshit as well. Like, I'm not one. I mean, it is week 0 in college football, so this is the weekend of all the crazy shit. Like, I think we're all in agreement that, you know, this is when the most out there stuff happens. So if this is what you want to do, go ahead, do it at the beginning of the year. I like that. Like, you're not going into the school year and saying, oh, I got a trig midterm, but fuck, I got to go to Dublin. Professor, can I have an extension? Professor, can I take it online? Like, that's a major league issue. I mean, it's only the second or third week of classes, so like that's a plus. If you're going to do something like this, do it at the beginning of the year. So that's the one thing, that's the one positive that you're getting from me. As a teacher, you're doing it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Notre Dame football hasn't meant anything in years. You know, it's just like
that one time they got to the national title game with Brian Kelly.
Right.
Got their ass kicked. So, yeah, it's been 11 years since Notre Dame played in Ireland. So I guess there is some significance there. You have the Fighting Irish going to Ireland, taking on a service academy. Like, I suppose there's something there. I mean, can you get more America than that? The University of Football in America going up against one of America's service academies. Like, I mean, from that standpoint, I guess there's something there. Navy's not great either. Like, Notre Dame's mediocre, but Navy's nothing special. Like, they've cracked the top 25 a couple times, but it's not like you're sending Alabama Clemson. You know, like, it's the equivalent of the London game, right? Who gets sent to the London game? The worst of the worst. Right? The Jaguars. Now that the Jaguars are good, like, it's a different story. But it's a way to get international eyes on an American product, and it's not even an American professional product. It's a collegiate product. So, you know, people are going to watch it. Like you said, the people who are going to go to the game are going to go to the game. Like, that, Notre Dame fans, they're going to watch that. Notre Dame fans are going to go to it. I don't really see it growing the game because, like, you know, I don't think the Irish people really care that it's the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Hey, it says Irish in the name. That's me. Their logo's a leprechaun. You don't think people will get pissed off about that? So it's bullshit. It's more for Americans than anything else. And frankly, it's week 1, so you don't expect a great game. I expect Notre Dame to beat the shit out of Navy. That's what I expect. Now, would it be nice if there was an upset? Sure. But I'm thinking this is going to be a really bad showing by the midship. Bullshit or no shit. Number 2, Dwight Howard had a better career than Anthony Davis.
You know, it's closer than you think. Like, when we first talked about this, I was like, oh man, it's totally bullshit. But you know what? Like, I do think Dwight. This all came up because Stan Van Gundy actually came out and said that The idea that Anthony Davis is part of the 75th anniversary team and Dwight Howard isn't is a joke. And he actually went to bat for Dwight, which is interesting because they didn't get along while he was in Orlando. I'm going to say that Dwight Howard I think Dwight Howard is the better player. If you look at his stats, so I'm going to say no shit. Dwight Howard definitely had a better career than Anthony Davis. They both have a championship. But the thing that gets me is Howard was All-NBA 8 times. Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. NBA champion. He doesn't have the points, though. That's the only problem is he doesn't have the points. But he also plays. I don't remember Dwight really getting hurt a lot. So
even with that back problem.
He played through it. And people don't remember the first 10 years of his career, like the first 8 years of his career when he was with Orlando. He was a beast. He was an absolute beast. He was stopping Dwight Howard. He was a monster.
Dwight Howard and Jameer Nelson got that team to the NBA Finals.
Right.
That's all you need to know about Dwight Howard. He was a force of nature.
Mm-hmm. Big dude.
Is amazing. And now he's, languishing in China?
By his choice, though.
Well, how many offers are really coming in? So, at this point in time, how many offers are legitimately coming in?
I don't know.
Can't say.
Yeah,
I'm begrudgingly going to go bullshit on this.
What?
Only because Anthony Davis has played half the amount of games that Dwight Howard has. Anthony Davis is still an active player. At this point, Dwight Howard's NBA career stopped because he's overseas. Mm-hmm. Now, if Anthony Davis continues on his trajectory, he has a chance to be, a very good player. Just in the
75th anniversary good?
Not 75th anniversary good. Neither one of them are 75th anniversary good. But, big men, the going rate on a big man in the NBA is not what it used to be, right? It's not Mutombo. It's not Hakeem Olajuwon.
Hakeem?
It's not Patrick Ewing. It's not Greg Ostertag. Jokic is the class of NBA big men. So, Anthony Davis isn't touching that. But he can still be very serviceable. To me, Jokic and Howard are more comparable because of what Jokic has been able to do on the glass and what he's been able to do down low. But if you're looking statistically, in terms of scoring, steals, blocks, Anthony Davis has the numbers right now. He has the luxury of time, where Dwight Howard does not. Dwight Howard, his best years are behind him, so he's not going to put up the numbers, and he's not going to be put in a position to put up those numbers because he's not, quote unquote, in his prime anymore. The injury bug is going to bite Anthony Davis in the ass like it's always bitten him. He is one of the best examples of potential and what could have been. Think about, he's good. He's just good. What could have been? What could have been if he stayed in New Orleans? What could have been if he stayed with Chris Paul? What could have been if he stayed healthy? There's a lot of what ifs, a lot of hypotheticals. But if somehow he's able to stop with the injuries, right? If he's somehow able to, right the ship, he could be as good as Dwight Howard. So begrudgingly, because of the benefit of time, I'm gonna go bullshit, but very narrow, very, very, very narrow. Bullshit or no shit. Number 3, the Angels wish they could get a do-over at the trade deadline.
Oh, it. No shit. This team is awful. Ohtani's not even going to give them a call. Their season's a wrap. And all this, and Mike Trout's coming back after being out for 7 weeks. What a freaking disaster. No shit on this one.
Oh, my goodness. And then Ohtani's been continuing to have issues where he can't pitch. So that's a problem, too. When your best hitter is your best pitcher, right? Ohtani's the Triple Crown leader on the He's the Triple Crown leader in pitching, and he's the Triple Crown leader in hitting on the Angels. This is the very definition of a one and everybody else. Like, they accused Alex Rodriguez of being a 24-1 guy. Ohtani is a 25-1 guy. There's him, and then there's everybody else. It's a major no shit. Right? The guys that you brought in haven't done the job. I don't see why in God's name he would stay. They're 11 games back in the West. They're just above the Yankees, barely, in the wild card. You're being mentioned in the same breath as this year's Yankees. That's not good. So, if you were given the opportunity, and Mike Trout conveniently got hurt, otherwise, you know what? Sell them all. Rebuild the farm system. Do something. Because what you got isn't doing anything for you. You doubled down on it, and now you're paying for it. You're doubling down. You doubled down. You're paying for it, and now Ohtani's not coming back. They'll extend him a qualifying offer. I suppose you'll get a draft pick for him. Yay. You're going to get something that may or may not pan out 6 years from now for your leader offensively and pitching. That's a major fuck up. Major misstep. Now, I have my full plate of crow here. Like, I really thought that this would be something that took it over the top. I really thought that this was the year. They got me. They got me again. But now, if the Angels knew then what they knew now, they wouldn't have made half of those moves. Not at all. But ifs and buts, candies and nuts, wonderful Christmas and all that, the Angels are going to, finish in fourth place. And the only reason why they're going to finish in fourth place is because they're in the same division as the A's, who are actively trying to lose. So they're going to have to watch him go. They're going to watch him go and be left holding the bag. And now you're going to be left with Trout again. And then what are you going to do with Trout? Are you going to explore trading him? Are you going to keep him and languish like you've been languishing? Because it's not the manager, it's not the GM, it's the players, as Antonio Conte once said. What is this players? They just aren't a good match together. And the Angels have been doing this for the better part of a decade now. They tried it with Hamilton. They tried it with Pujols. Didn't work. It's not working with Trout. It's not working with Ohtani. Something fundamentally has to change. And Ohtani walking away is probably what's going to do it. But I guess kudos for trying, maybe. I don't know. But
are you in need of air care maintenance or service? I have the company for you. Air Care Technicians. They service the Westchester and Northern Bronx area and can help you with all your heating and cooling, maintenance, and service needs. Just give them a call at 914-315-1547. Again, that's 914-315-1547. Or shoot them an email at aircaretechnicians@gmail.com. These guys are the real deal, as they are veteran-owned, licensed, and insured. Make sure to tell them that D&Z sent you.
The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award.
all right, boys and girls, you know what time it is. It's time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. We put up a poll on our X page at FadeRouteDNZ, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote. And the winner of said vote gets the coveted ass trophy and a shout out on this here show. And do you know, D, who took home the coveted ass trophy?
No, I do not.
Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and beat the Mets, like apparently the Braves just did. But that was last week. This is this week. Who are your nominees for Alleged Superstar of the Week, D?
All right, first up, we've got Brian Cashman. 9 straight losses.
9.
1-10 in the last 11. Oof. Woo! And now you decide to bring up Peraza, Cabrera and team? What a waste. Brian Cashman, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. Number 2, Stephen A. Smith, going on record saying Curry is the best point guard of all time. I'm sorry. Did you ever see John Stockton play? Do you know who Magic Johnson is? The guy was so good they called him Magic. And not only could he play point guard, but he played center in the championship when Kareem couldn't play and won the championship. Stephen A. Smith, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. And last and certainly the least, the New York Jets. Deciding to start Aaron Rodgers in the last preseason game, you're just asking for a problem. You're risking injury and all this to get people to come to the last preseason game. New York Jets, you are my Alleged Superstars of the Week. What do you got, Z?
I got 2 words for you. Geno Smith.
Yeah.
So hopefully Zach Wilson's ready to play. Because last time...
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, exactly. That's the last time we had to worry about this. They played a starter into the third quarter, and they fucked up their whole season because Rex won the Snoopy Bowl. Mark Sanchez is retired for several years now, doing a great job on TV. He could still be playing.
I like how you think he's doing a great job on TV. I saw him at Jets camp, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, what? People don't look back at the time he was there, and they're like, oh man, those were great years.
Back-to-back AFC title games, you definitely look fondly upon.
Wow, I'm looking at. He only played there for 4 years. He's
That's it.
4 fucking seasons. Pick number 5, round 1. Oof. Oof.
It was a stretch. It was a reach then. By his own admission, I believe he said that he probably shouldn't have come out. He should have listened to Pete Carroll.
Ooh.
So, he has the benefit of hindsight. He has the benefit of experience on his side. So, good for Mark Sanchez for owning up to it.
I liked Mark Sanchez when he was an Eagle. Just saying.
The one time I didn't like Mark Sanchez. I
liked it when he was an Eagle. That was hilarious.
Oh God! All right, here we go. For me, we have a lot this week. Another one where we might have to put multiple polls up because we are running out of space. Let's start with Luis Rubiales.
Oh
yeah, that's bad. Sexual assault on global television. Yep, prisoner of the moment. Yada yada yada. Emotions got the best of you. Yada yada yada. That was atrocious. You groped and kissed a woman without her consent. It's straight up assault. Luis Rubiales, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. Wander Franco, currently on administrative leave as Major League Baseball investigates whether or not he has been having relationships with underage girls in the Dominican Republic. So it's different in the DR than it is here. Here you have the Romeo and Juliet laws that provide you with some legal wiggle room if you're kind of within the age range. But in the DR, that shit don't fly. If you're under 18, you're under 18. He's 22. The girl was allegedly 14.
Eesh.
Do the math. 8 will get you 50. I don't care how good of a baseball player you are. Can't be doing that shit. No one can be doing that shit. So we're going to be awaiting We're going to be awaiting what's coming there. And the prosecutor, the DA down there, is known for her reputation regarding child abuse cases. So expect this to be swift. Expect this to be severe. Wander Franco, you are my alleged superstar of the week. The Washington Commanders, the commies, celebrating knocking off the Ravens and their 24-game winning streak in the preseason like you won the goddamn Super Bowl. You guys will be lucky if you get out of last place this year. So I guess maybe this is your Super Bowl. This is almost up there like when Johnny Morton told Jay Leno to kiss his ass when the Lions finally won a game. Washington Commanders, the very definition of acting like you've been there before. You are my alleged superstar of the week. Oh my God. And we're still going. The New York Knicks, for hiring a guy who turned out to be a mole for the Toronto Raptors. I could keep going. He sent video of practice. He sent practice plans. He sent game plans to the Toronto Raptors. What the fuck are you doing? The Knicks are suing him. He's lucky that's the least they're doing. What the hell? What in the hell? Oh my God! The Knicks HR. That's a problem. Knicks HR. You were my alleged superstar of the week, and last but not least, the fans for going after Tommy Pham at the ballpark, and then going after his cousin. Oh no, was it his cousin? I think it was his cousin. A family relation. He's 13 years old. He's sticking up for family, and you're threatening this kid? What is wrong with you people? If you have an issue with Tommy Pham, take it up with Tommy Pham. Don't involve his family. And don't.
It's his nephew. Yeah, it was his nephew.
It was his nephew. It was his nephew, not his cousin. Thank you. So, Uncle Tommy's gonna stick up for his nephew, right? He was gonna stick up for family. Don't be going after kids. I'm sorry. Like, especially on social media, the keyboard warrior in us all, right? Fans, we need to start checking ourselves. It started with LeBron in Atlanta, right? And then it's continued and it's escalated. We really need to have a serious come to Jesus moment. Fans in general, you are my alleged superstar of the week. I've said my piece. You've said your piece. There was a lot of shit happen. Go to our X account at FadeRouteDNZ and vote. And vote, and vote, and vote. And for our nominee.
Just do better, boys. Just do better. Your favorite podcast has its own merch line now. Go to the Fade store with DNZ.com today for all your Fade Route merch needs. I'm talking tank tops, t-shirts, sweatshirts, like yoga pants, we got those too. Like some cool accessories, we got those too. And we're not done yet. We have so much more planned for you, but check out what we have today at the Fade store with DNZ.com. That's the Fade store with DNZ.com. Order up!
We continue our division by division breakdown as we order up.
Order up, order up.
This week, we're ordering up the NFC South. From 4 to 1. Who you got here?
Let me get my piece of paper here. This was a fun division. All right, starting with the basement, I'm going with the Carolina Panthers. You know what? It's just a fresh start for Bryce Young. There's a lot of young kids there, a lot of young talent. They're gonna have some growing pains. I think they'll be decent, but they're not gonna win anything. Number 3, I've got the Bucks, who just named their starter for the season will be Baker Mayfield. They've got talent, but for some reason they don't gel. They don't win. I'm curious to see if Mayfield can stay the starter for the whole season. And number 2, this is where it gets shaky. Well, I'm going with the Falcons. I think the Falcons are loaded offensively. Ritter is ready. Bijan Robinson's going to be the next Marshall Faulk. Drake London had a good season last year. Kyle Pitts has to have a good season this year. Going with the Falcons at number 2. And number 1, I know it's crazy for me to say this, but I think it's the Saints. I'm a believer. I think Derek Carr throws one of the best deep ball throwers in the league last year. They have Mike Thomas, who appears to be healthy. Chris Olave, who should have been Rookie of the Year last year. Dennis Allen knows how to coach defense. Kamara's going to come back after 4 games. I think Juwan Johnson's a sleeper, so if you haven't had your fantasy draft yet, make sure you pick him up in the late rounds. But yeah, I'm all aboard on the Saints. What do you got, T?
Interesting. Very, very interesting for the guy who hated Derek Carr so much.
I fucking hate that guy.
You hate him so much.
I hate that guy. He's
can't.
awful. He's awful.
Oh my God, it's amazing to me.
That's how bad the division is.
The division is really horrible. But 4th place, last place, I'm going with the Bucks. As talented as they are, Baker Mayfield is still their starting quarterback. So as long as Baker Mayfield is there, that ain't gonna be good. So Rashad White is gonna have a good year. Expect some good things from the Fordham Flash. Chase Edmonds is there backing them up. So I think they're gonna have good seasons. Evans, Godwin, they're gonna wish that they were elsewhere by probably week 3 when they're overthrown by 10 yards. So it doesn't matter how good the defense is. And I think a lot of this is also the Todd Bowles effect. Like, you're trying to figure out why they don't gel.
Yeah.
The Todd Bowles effect. The Jets didn't gel under Todd Bowles. He's just not an effective head coach. So I have the Bucks in DFL. 4th place, but not by much. 3rd place, but not by much. The Panthers. Yes, as talented as they are, as loaded as they are, with Thielen, Shark, Hurst, Sanders, that offensive line has been rebuilt. Still got a rookie quarterback, man. Bryce Young, as good as he is, expect growing pains. And then if he struggles, you have the immortal Andrew Dalton. You can't get away from this guy. Can't get away from him. I guarantee you, take this to the bank. Andrew Dalton will start at least 2 games this year. 2. You heard it here first. At least 2. If you're looking for a sleeper, you can do worse than Laviska Shenault. That kid, he's got some talent. He couldn't unlock it with the Jaguars. Let's see if he can do it with the Panthers. But solid 3rd place for me. Again, this is where it gets hairy. You're absolutely right. You're splitting hairs between the Saints and the Falcons. I'm gonna go with the Saints at number 2. The Saints at 2. They have a solid defense, probably the best part of their team. Right? They have their secondary. They have Honey Badger, Lattimore, Marcus May. Marcus May is gonna have a great year, mostly because he's not Jet. So he's going to do fantastic. Demario Davis, perfect example of a guy who excelled once he left the Jets. Cameron Jordan's there, still steady Eddie. I don't know what you're going to get from Derek Carr. Like, Derek Carr is a capable quarterback. What are you going to get? Don't know. We're going to find out. Jameis Winston's there. If he gets playing time this year, they could be all right. Right? If Carr gets hurt or something happens and you need to bench him in favor of Winston, you're gonna hold serve. You're gonna stay afloat. at least until Alvin Kamara gets back. And then what you do with him, who knows? But I don't trust Michael Thomas as far as I can throw him. That leaves you with Chris Olave.
You really can't throw him very far with your bad hip.
Yeah, I got the bad hip and 2 bad knees. I probably shouldn't be throwing anybody. So Michael Thomas, no, I'm not going to be doing that. But you're left with Traquan Smith and Chris Olave. That's not enough. When Michael Thomas goes down, it's not enough. So that leaves me with number 1, the Atlanta Falcons. You've got talent here. You absolutely have talent here. Wideout's a little thin, but you have your high upside guys: Arcega-Whiteside, Scotty Miller, Mac Hollins, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith is there. You have offensive weapons: Bijan Robinson, Cordell Patterson. You have a legitimate running game. Tyler Algier is there. You have 3 guys who can conceivably run this rock. Defense, they added Calais Campbell to go with Grady Jarrett. They added Jesse Bates from Cincinnati. Jeff Okuda's there. You have pieces. Can it come together? But it boils down to quarterback. Again, I got this feeling. I just call it gut, intuition, whatever you want to call it. Taylor Heineke is going to be the starting quarterback for the majority of this season, and Taylor Heineke is going to take them to the promised land, which is the playoffs. Bet on that. Taylor Heineke will have a major impact on this division in favor of the Atlanta Falcons.
This has been the Fade Route with D&Z. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Catch our podcast on Wednesday nights on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast. So until next time, stay fade, everyone.
Time for us to run the Go Wrap, but we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you like what you heard and want to hear more, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Rate us 5 stars, leave us a review, turn on subscription notifications, and tell your friends. Spread the word, spread it wide.